Hello there. I'm Nancy, your neighbor across the street. You're new to the neighborhood?
Yeah, hello. I just moved in last weekend.
That's nice. How are you settling in?
Fine, thanks.
Would you like to come over and have a cup of coffee? We have quite a few social events in the area that you might be interested in.
Thanks, but I'm kind of busy right now. I'll take a rain check.
No problem. But as a new resident in a small town, you should know that everyone will want to meet you. You'll be inundated with invitations. I can help you sort them out.
I appreciate your offer, but I'll do it myself.
Well, suit yourself. I don't recommend turning down too many invitations or you'll get a reputation for being a recluse.
That's okay with me.
What does Eric mean when he says, I'll take a rain check? How will Nancy help Eric with the invitation?
Hello, Nancy. How are you?
All good, dear. I hope you're all settled now.
Yeah, sort of. It's never too easy to pack all your stuff and relocate to a new place.
I agree. So how do you like it here?
It's gorgeous. In fact, I really like this place.
That's very sweet of you. Why don't you join me for lunch today? We can spend some time together, and I can give you the latest scoop on the neighborhood.
Thanks for the tempting offer, but I'm expecting some guests in the evening, and I have to prepare an exotic meal for them. In fact, why don't you come over to my place and help me, if it's not too much of botheration for you?
That sounds interesting. I would love to extend my help in whatever way I can. Moreover, I will also drive you around some good places to buy quality stuff in this area.
What is Eric's overview of the neighborhood? Why does Eric invite Nancy to his home? Why would Nancy take Eric to the market?
That was amazing, Nancy. I never had an inkling that I would get all the stuff at one stop.
I'm so glad to know that you like the place. Now let's get going. We have a lot to do and very less time.
Oh yes. How do we go about it?
First of all, how many people are you expecting?
Around 15.
Okay, and they will be here by what time?
By 7 o'clock p.m.
Fine. Let's first prepare the soup and the starters so that we have them handy as soon as the guests arrive. But most importantly, let me marinate the meat for the main course. Have you decided on the dessert to be served?
I'll go by your decision.
Why does Nancy urge Eric to hasten? What would the guests we served on arrival? What was Eric's reaction after shopping?
That test was so long. I really do not understand why we have to take this SAT test anyway.
Since the curriculum of one high school is slightly different from another high school, the SAT test allows the colleges to consider each student equally. Anyways, have you gotten your recommendation letters yet?
I have asked Mrs. Smith for one. I think she got to know me better than my other teachers, so hopefully the letter will be well written. What about you?
I have also asked Mrs. Smith for a letter.
Great. What colleges are you thinking of applying to? Have you visited any campuses yet?
I am still considering whether I should stay close to home or go to an out-of-state school. What about you?
I want to stay close to home, so I'm hoping to go to either a California State University or a University of California.
Which one?
Perhaps UCLA or CSULB.
Have you decided what to study yet?
I was considering majoring in either English or biological sciences.
Why? What would you do with a degree in biological sciences?
It may be too early to decide, but if I want to become a doctor, the classes I would take as a biological sciences student would fulfill most requirements for medical school. But like I said, it is too early to determine anything yet.
I do not think you have to worry about getting into college.
What is the logic behind SAT? Why would Mrs. Smith recommend Michael? What is Charlotte's dilemma? Michael appears to be. A course in life sciences will open up avenues in.
I am so glad you came to visit in time to celebrate the new year with me.
Thank you for inviting me. I get to celebrate 2 New Years this year then. I'll celebrate the Vietnamese New Year on February 7th.
Oh, that's right. You and I celebrate New Year's at different times. Although the date of the Vietnamese New Year depends on when the new moon rises, Americans celebrate the New Year precisely on January 1st.
Why are you having the party tonight?
Well, don't you stay up the night before New Year, waiting to set off fireworks with your friends when midnight finally arrives?
Yes, we do stay up the night before.
Exactly. So your celebration is like my New Year's Eve party. Although the party will not be as big as the one in New York, we'll still be counting down to midnight.
How do you know about a party in New York if you live in California?
Because it is broadcasted on TV every year.
What is so special about it?
Everyone gathers at a traffic intersection in New York called Times Square to watch various musical artists perform as they wait for midnight to come. But everyone's attention is mainly focused on the ball.
The ball?
Yes, there's a very tall pole that stands upright on top of a building overlooking Times Square, and just before midnight, a large ball made of crystal and electric lights slowly slides down the pole. When the ball reaches the bottom of the pole precisely at midnight, everyone celebrates the arrival of the new year.
Wow, I wish I could see the ball drop. Perhaps I should have gone to New York instead of coming to California to visit you.
Well,
I'm just teasing you.
if you really want to see the ball drop, we can watch the ball drop together on TV.
Awesome! Your New Year customs are so fascinating.
How does Phuong get to celebrate New Year twice? Why does everyone gather at Times Square? Why does Phuong wish to be in New York? What is so fascinating for Phuong about America? What is Vietnamese New Year dependent on? Why do people stay up the night before the New Year?
Two Canadian women have been kidnapped in Ghana by unidentified gunmen in the country's second-largest city, Kumasi. The two students, aged 19 and 20, have been working as volunteers for a charity. They have not been named. They were seized on Tuesday evening outside their apartment in the Ahodwo district and bundled into a car, police said. Kidnappings in Ghana have been extremely rare until recently, correspondents say. However, there have been several over the past few months, usually involving ransom demands. Police say the two women are volunteers with Youth Challenge International, a Toronto-based international development organization. Security agencies are working closely together to get them rescued and the perpetrators arrested, said David Eklu, Assistant Commissioner of Police. Global Affairs Canada confirmed the abductions and said Canadian officials were working with authorities in Ghana and were in touch with the families of the two women. Ghana's president, Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has vowed to take a tougher line on kidnappers after a spate of abductions in the country. In April, an Indian man was seized in Kumasi by an armed gang demanding a ransom. He was later rescued in a police raid. An Estonian diplomat was also kidnapped in April in the capital Accra and again rescued in a police raid, GhanaWeb reported. Meanwhile, police are still searching for 3 women kidnapped in December in the southern city of Takoradi. 2 Canadians were kidnapped earlier this year in the West African state of Burkina Faso. One was later found dead, and the other, a woman, is still missing.
Now, the number of people following a vegan diet has more than doubled in the last year. According to the Vegan Society, 500,000 of us are now avoiding eating meat or any other animal products.
Well, restaurants and shops have been pretty quick to embrace this trend. Health stores, things like Holland & Barrett, for example, this week becoming the latest chain to launch exclusively vegan stores. Joining us now are the dietitian Nicola Ludlam-Rain and Louise Davies from the Vegan Society. Thank you both very much for coming in. Can I start, Nicola, with you? Is it healthier?
Eating more plant-based foods is definitely a good thing because you're getting more fibre from fruits, vegetables and whole grains. And eating less meat is also good because you're more likely to be getting healthy fats from things like nuts, seeds, avocados and olive oil. Having said that, though, from a health point of view, it's not necessary to cut out meat and fish altogether.
Are you a vegan?
I'm not. I think if you're going to give yourself a label, and I don't really like labels, I would say I'm a flexitarian where I do eat less meat than what I used to, but I still eat things like chicken and oily fish, but I eat lots of legumes, lentils, beans and pulses.
Louise, why are more people turning to veganism or flexitarianism, as we call it?
I think there are three reasons, really. One is that the health reasons, as Nicola's talked about. It's perceived that a vegan diet can be much healthier. The main reason really is for animals. So most people come to veganism because they're concerned about the exploitation of animals and don't want to consume them as part of their daily lives. And you don't need to anymore. It's completely unnecessary. And then the other reason is the environment. So animal agriculture is hugely damaging for our planet. And more people are starting to realise that. More research and reports are coming out that backs that up. So people are turning to a vegan diet to limit their impact on the planet.
And to what extent, as we're hearing now, people, I mean, it's great that vegans are better catered, for, and they have more options, but to what extent are they just cashing in on what they see as being a trend?
I think there's probably part of that. I think, it'd be fantastic to think that all of these retailers are coming to veganism for compassionate reasons, but they're really responding to consumer demand. But either way, it's fantastic for vegans out and about. We can get vegan products. Most of restaurants will have a vegan option now. Things are really rapidly changing, so it's all really positive.
But it's difficult, though. I mean, particularly, I'm a mother of a young child. It's very difficult to get that sort of nutrition that you think you need for your children, particularly when it comes to protein and also healthy fats as well, without dairy. I mean, that's really tough.
Yeah, I think as soon as you start cutting foods out of your diet, it does make it more difficult to get all of the nutrients that we need. For example, calcium, iodine, you mentioned protein there, also B12. So some vegans do need to take a supplement. And I think that's why I would approach it, like Louise said, from an animal welfare point of view, not from a health point of view.
Canada's most populous province is set to ban pupils from using mobile phones in classrooms. The Ontario government hopes a ban in all schools will help students to focus on their learning. Students will not be allowed to use their distracting devices during instructional time, but there will be some exceptions. Teachers who want to use them as part of their lesson can do so. They can be used for medical reasons, and students with special needs will also be allowed to use their phones. Lisa Thompson, Ontario's education minister, said, "By banning cell phone use that distracts from learning, we are helping students to focus on acquiring the foundational skills they need, like reading, writing, and math." The province will issue a directive to all public schools for the start of the next academic year in September, but the enforcement would be up to individual schools. The announcement comes after a year of consultations which revealed that the vast majority of parents, educators, and stakeholders were in favor of a ban on the devices. But some believe children should be allowed their devices so they can learn about responsible technology use, while other critics doubt whether the ban will be effectively enforced. Charles Pascal, a professor at the Ontario Institute for Studies in Education, said, "Telling post-millennials to get rid of their cell phones is almost like telling them not to breathe. It's not going to work." Currently in the UK, it is up to schools to decide whether mobile phones should be allowed in the classroom. Government policy says head teachers can decide whether a ban is necessary. The Toronto District School Board used to have a cell phone ban, but reversed it after 4 years to let teachers dictate what works best for their classrooms. The board has previously said that enforcing an outright ban was next to impossible, and said that to curb technology use would be to place limits on educational opportunities as well. A 2015 London School of Economics and Political Science paper found that student performance in high-stakes exams significantly increases with a ban on mobile phones. The improvements were largely seen among the students who were normally the lowest achieving.